everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this video we'll be taking you through our trip to Disneyland in California in August 2022. This was part of a longer road trip around California, so check out our other vlogs covering the rest of our time. We visited Walt Disney World in Florida many times, but this was only our second time visiting the parks in California and the first time with Eva and Finley. As expected, we had a fantastic time, but as we weren't as familiar with the area or the parks, it took a little bit more planning than our usual Disney trips. Everybody likes to do Disney differently and get different things from their trip, but we'll talk you through what we did and how we planned our trip as an infrequent visitor from the UK. In this vlog, we'll give you a brief overview of what we did and then we'll go through some more of the practical things and what went into our planning. Look out for some more vlogs coming up where we'll talk about the parks and the meals themselves in much more detail. For this visit, we stayed in Anaheim, just outside of Disneyland for 5 nights. We'd already spent some time in Los Angeles and we spent our final day there in Universal Studios in Hollywood. We left the park around mid-afternoon and drove over to Anaheim, stopping for a quick McDonald's tea on the way. We checked into our hotel, the Park View Inn, just outside of the Disneyland gates, and then dropped our rental car at the Alamo office around 5 minutes away. It was a Sunday and the office was closed, so we dropped our keys through the letterbox and then walked back to the hotel, which only took around 10 minutes. There was just enough time left for a quick swim before an early night ready for some hectic days in the theme parks. We had already bought tickets for 4 days in the parks, with reservations for 2 days in each of the 2 parks. The first day was spent in Disneyland and we were up early to make the most of our time. We spent the first few hours riding the rides and meeting characters until it was time for our breakfast at Plaza Inn. This was a character breakfast which we always love doing, and we'll provide a more detailed review in a separate vlog.
Thank you. Tigger just can't keep still, Finley. It's just like you.
After a few hours in the park and after getting completely drenched on Splash Mountain, we headed back to the hotel for a swim and a rest. Refreshed, we then headed back into the park late afternoon for some more fun and for our Fantasmic dining package at the River Belle Terrace. This was a lovely way to round out the day and a relaxing way to watch the show, which is one of our favourite Disney things. Our second day was spent in the California Adventure Park, and it was another early start as we were desperate to see the new Avengers Campus.
Discoveries will all find a place in his heart. Today, we invite you to explore your dreams as you experience your very own California adventure.
We had a fantastic morning exploring the park, meeting our favourite Marvel heroes and going on some new rides.
Oh, Peter Parker!
Hey, what's up? I'm Peter Parker, and here at Web we got access to some pretty awesome tech, like vibranium from Wakanda, or this crazy alien juice stuff. We have pin particles and star tech. It all helps us develop really cool stuff, like these spider bots, for example. Check it out, they have this really cool self-replicating feature. Because it's awesome. Buddy, you could stop doing that now. But anyway, you guys are here today to help us test the web slinger vehicle. Using onboard tech, you will be able to sling webs just like my buddy Spider-Man.
Peter, your presentation is getting away from you.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, Sharon. If you could just initiate the safety protocols, it'd be greatly appreciated.
For lunch, we had a reservation at Lamplight Lounge, which was a welcome break and got us out of the sun for a bit. Soon after, we made the short walk back to the hotel for a swim and a rest, as the heat was really sapping our energy. We headed back into the park late afternoon for some more rides and Avengers fun.
Whoa, that's a Hulk-sized pretzel. Okay, it's time to see what this suit can do. I hope this works. Of course it'll work. It'll work, right? Time for some field testing. Here goes something.
And had a quick tea at Flo's Cafe. Cars Land looks absolutely amazing lit up in neon at night. Rather than push ourselves too much, we had an earlier night to give us a chance to recharge our energy batteries a little. Our third day was spent back in Disneyland. Again, we were up early as it was becoming really clear that the quietest time was first thing in the morning, and it was by far the best time to get things done. After another morning zipping around the park, we stopped for lunch again at Plaza Inn, but this time as part of the Main Street Electrical Parade package. Soon after lunch, we had our usual rest at the hotel to get out of the heat. We then spent the evening in the park and had a quick tea at Pizza Planet before getting our reserved spot for the Electrical Parade. We made sure to get a spot where we could look back at Main Street for a good view of the castle and fireworks afterwards. It all worked perfectly, with an amazing view of the parades and the fireworks, which were just spectacular. Our fourth and final day followed a really similar pattern, up early for our last morning in California Adventure Park, fitting in as many rides and character meets as we could, before pausing for lunch at the Lucky Fortune Cookery on Pacific Wharf. Again, we headed back to the hotel for a rest and a swim to avoid the hottest part of the day in the parks. We then decided to park hop for the first time to spend the last few hours in Disneyland Park. We managed to squeeze in a few rides and a light tea at the French Market restaurant before we hopped back over to California Adventure for our World of Colour dessert party. This was an amazing way to cap off a wonderful, if not exhausting, few days where we've made some brilliant memories as a family. So that's a whistle-stop overview of our time in Disneyland. We'll go into our time in the parks in more detail in further vlogs, but we just wanted to give you an idea of what we managed to fit in and how we spent our time. Now we'll take you through some of the more practical bits. Our first decision was how many nights to stay and how many days to spend in the parks. There's so much to do in California, so this was a really difficult decision, weighing up how to spend our time. However, we knew this would be the kids' favourite part of the trip, so we decided to spend a decent amount of time in Anaheim to do the parks properly. We settled on 5 nights to give us 2 days in each park, which we thought would be enough time to fit everything in that we wanted to do. However, as you can see, these were 4 fairly busy days, so if you do want to take things a bit slower, we'd recommend adding on another day or 2. Our next decision was where to stay. Our first choice was definitely one of the 3 Disney hotels, the Grand Californian, the Disneyland Hotel or the Paradise Pier Hotel. We are DVC members and tried to book a stay at the Grand Californian, but unfortunately there was no availability. We then planned to pay to stay at one of the 3 hotels, but the cost was just way above our budget for this trip. Fortunately, there's a really wide range of hotels in the nearby area, primarily down and around Harbour Boulevard. We originally booked a stay in the Anaheim Marriott by the Anaheim Convention Center, which is around a 20-minute walk from the main gates. However, when we were planning our time in the parks, we realised we were going to be spending some really long days and late nights, so we wanted to be able to pop back and forth between the hotel to get some rest and pool time during the day. With a 20-minute walk each way, this just wasn't realistic with 2 young children, so we looked for something closer to the front gates. We landed on the Parkview Inn, which was directly opposite the main gates, just a few minutes walk away. It was a tad more expensive than the Marriott, at around $1,200 in total for the 5 nights. It's a more basic hotel, but you're paying for the location here. It was still more than half the price of a Disney hotel as well. The hotel was basic, similar to a motel, but the rooms were clean and spacious and were perfectly fine. We had a double bed and bunk beds for the kids, which they loved. In the evening, you could see the Disneyland fireworks from our bedroom window, and there was a small pool which was great for cooling off. Ultimately, we were really pleased with our decision. The hotel served just as a good base to rest and cool off, and we were really grateful we could pop back to rest. And with just a short walk at the end of each day, this is definitely the closest hotel to the main entrance of Disneyland, much closer than even the Disney hotels themselves. Park tickets, we bought these direct from Disneyland and selected 4-day park hopper tickets, which came to just over $1,500 for a family of 4 at the time of booking. We specifically selected the park hopper tickets to give us greater flexibility with our plans. We then made sure to get our park reservations made as soon as our plans were finalised to ensure we could enter the parks on the days we wanted. Make sure to get these done months in advance as the reservations do get booked up. In addition to the cost of the ticket, we also reluctantly purchased access to Genie Plus each day, which is Disney's new paid-for FastPass system. We're not really fans of this system, having tried it in Walt Disney World, but it did work better here in Disneyland, and it was pretty much essential for such a short trip where we wanted to get so much done. As it stands today, Genie Plus costs an extra $25 per person per day, so a pretty significant additional cost.
Waiting for the marvelous, the stupendous, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8th wonder of the world, the backside of water!
In terms of dining, we tend to break the options down into table service meals, quick service meals and snacks. We pre-booked reservations for any table service meals we specifically wanted to do, as these do book up, and then we made a short list of quick service options that we wanted to try to fill in the meals around these. Table service meals vary considerably depending on the restaurant, and we'll cover this in more detail along with our choices and costs in a separate vlog. However, it's useful to have a rough idea of the expected cost of these in advance, as they can be very expensive, particularly the dining packages. For a quick service meal, we usually expected this to come out around $50 for 2 adults and 2 children, give or take a little. We then also usually have 1 snack per day each as a treat while we're away, and again, this can vary widely in price depending on what we choose. Top tip though, the churro toffee is only available here in California. I'm going to start a petition to bring it to Orlando though, and it's spectacular, a top rated Disney snack. After dining, the other remaining cost is souvenirs. This will simply depend on what you personally want to buy. We usually start with a budget of an extra £30 to £40 per day for snacks and bits and pieces, but sometimes this can go completely out the window, as it did on this trip in the Christmas store. So that's our trip to Disneyland, California. We hope this was useful for your trip, and keep an eye out for other vlogs coming soon where we'll go into more detail on the parks and the dining options. If you've got any questions or any other tips, please let me know in the comments below. We've got loads more vlogs coming this year, so please make sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from us. Thank you so much for watching.